Hello everyone, Coach Jess here. Welcome to week 1 of the 5x5 Basketball Weekly Wraps. Every Monday, or maybe Tuesday, we'll be going over the biggest NBA news, standings, players, games, and top plays to keep you efficiently and entertainingly informed on what's happening around the league. If you're new, please like and subscribe and look out for a new video every week.
What time is it? Game time! Woo!
At number 5, taking a quick look at news around the league, Giannis Antetokounmpo signed a $250 million Supermax contract extension, making him the second highest paid player in NBA history behind Damian Lillard. Milwaukee fans let out a collective sigh of relief as they can now relax and focus on building around the reigning back-to-back MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. In further contract news, the Raptors locked up OG Anunoby with a very solid 4 years and $72 million, while the Magic signed Jonathan Isaac and Markelle Fultz to 4 years and $70 million and 3 years and $50 million respectively. Isaac is out with an ACL tear this year but has Defensive Player of the Year upside, and Fultz is showing flashes this season that make him look a lot more like a number 1 overall pick. Rudy Gobert scored big with a $205 million Supermax contract. Whether or not the two-time DPOY will be worth that will depend on his offensive game evolving and his body holding up, as he will be 34 by the end of the contract. James Harden was fined $50,000 for attending a private party without masks. The season opener was postponed, but things are getting back to normal and the beard is still getting buckets. More on him and the Rockets later. Karl Anthony Towns is week to week with a wrist injury, the same one he fractured last year. There doesn't appear to be significant damage, but you gotta feel for Cat, who has had an absolutely brutal 2020. Finishing up our news section, Charles Barkley has talked a lot of trash to Kevin Durant, and this was his reaction when Chuck tried to interview him.
This didn't really be, to be honest, correct?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
At number 4, we're going to take a look at the standings. In the West, there is only one undefeated team left. That's the Oklahoma City Thunder, who had a game canceled. The Clippers started 2-0 with wins against the Lakers and Nuggets. Kawhi sits out, though, and they lose spectacularly to Luka and the Mavs, who until that point had only lost to the Suns and Lakers. The Nuggets with a rough start, sitting at 0-2 after a heartbreaker in OT to the Kings and a 13-point loss to the Clippers. In the East, the Cavs, Magic, Pacers, and Hawks are shockingly still undefeated. The Hawks took out the Bulls and Grizzlies, and the Cavs winning against Charlotte, Philly, and then a double overtime thriller in Detroit. The Washington Wizards started 0-3, dropping to the 76ers and then twice to the Magic. The Westbrook experiment looking a little shaky at the moment. If your team is off to a rough start, have no fear, it's only week 1. Plenty of time to turn things around. At number 3, every week I'd like to give you a closer look at how 5 specific players are fitting in and contributing to their teams. First up is Duncan Robinson of the Miami Heat, who popped off in the NBA bubble and has established himself as something like the next coming of Kyle Korver. Every championship caliber team needs a floor spacer like this, and Robinson is looking very much the part. Last year, in his second season, he averaged almost 45% on over 8 threes a game, which is truly elite territory. All Robinson needs is a little pin down screen to get open. Look at his shin angle here, still manages to hop, get his balance perfectly into the shot, and rise well above JJ Redick for a clean look. His defense is not exceptional, but he's shown the ability, more than your average 3-point specialist, to put the ball on the floor and punish somebody overreaching on him. Checking in with number 1 overall pick Anthony Edwards, he's looked very solid and as advertised this year. He is settling for contested threes a little too much, but he's had multiple tip-ins off his own miss. And watch the control here. What is becoming standard for point guards but is still impressive for a rookie wing. He locks out the defender here, slows things down, and gets the bucket. Reminding me here a little in a good way of fellow T-Wolves first overall pick Andrew Wiggins. He spins his way to the bucket, and the body control on these layups is really tantalizing stuff. This last play is very simple, but again, using his body to lock out the defender and then making a really nice, simple pass. Considering the amount of time these rookies have had to prepare, you gotta feel very good about Anthony Edwards so far. Heading over to Memphis, where sadly Ja Morant went down with an ankle injury while this video was being produced. We'll get more info on that next week, but so far this season Morant has looked like he's taking a huge step not just towards stardom, but superstardom. What you want in your primary ball handler is the ability to score in a variety of ways and to slow the game down. The concern with any point guard as athletic as Ja is that he will stay out of control like a Russell Westbrook type, simply because he can't operate at that speed. But watch Morant here use his athleticism for the dunk, and then on this possession slow things down, weave his way through the defense, and put up an in-control floater. He is simply scoring all over the court, averaging over 65% true shooting so far with a 35% usage rate, 36 and 8 per in his first 2 games. Speaking of Russell Westbrook, back-to-back triple-doubles to start the season, but the Wizards are still winless. He has plenty of shooters around him and is racking up ridiculous assist numbers, 13.5 per in his first 2 games, but he is already getting rested on back-to-backs and is at 5.5 turnovers per game so far. It looks like Wizards center Thomas Bryant and Russell will have some chemistry going this year, but Russ is still up to his old tricks, making careless passes and trying to do a little too much. Over in Houston, as the Rockets try to figure out if they're trading Harden or not, he has teamed up beautifully so far with Christian Wood, who's coming over from the Pistons and appears to be an ideal modern big man for Harden to work with. He is rim running, popping out for threes, and getting ahead on the break. His defense is lacking a bit, but the undrafted 25-year-old has put up an average of 27 points in his first 2 games, including going 4 for 5 from 3 against the Nuggets. Immobile big men like Nikola Jokic are going to have a really tough time with him. Harden and Wood, or Hardwood, could give the Rockets management a really strong reason to keep the team together for another run this year. At number 2, we're looking at 5 of the most interesting or notable games from the past week. On Sunday the 27th, the Mavs played the Clippers, and the Mavericks built a 50-point lead by halftime. Luka led the team with 24, 9, and 8, but the dominance was spread around here. The Mavericks shot 49% from the field, but only had 2 blocks, and the Clippers only had 10 turnovers. Not numbers that would scream 50-point blowout. The real issue seemed to be the Clippers went a putrid 4 for 33 from three-point land and just lost morale as time went on. Paul George claimed it was partially due to them celebrating Christmas the day before and said they will bounce back. Our next game is a matchup between the Hawks and the Grizzlies on Saturday, December 26th. An excellent matchup between the 2 point guards of the future, Trae Young and Ja Morant. The Hawks got the win as Trae Young dropped 36 points, 9 assists on 42% shooting. He did only go 1 for 7 from the 3-point line. Kevin Huerter assisted with 21 points on 4 for 5 from 3 in only 26 minutes. He's sitting behind quite a bit of depth on the wings, but made a case for himself for more playing time. For the Grizzlies, Ja Morant went 28 and 7 on 47% shooting, but it was not enough in the end. Despite the 10-point victory from the Hawks, this was a close game all the way through. The young point guards have shown growth in their games already this season, and the floater game from both young guards was a thing of beauty. Definitely worth a watch. And just for fun, in a 3-point game, Trae Young drops his signature reverse through the legs fake to put the Hawks up by 5. Also on the day after Christmas, the Warriors played the Bulls. The Warriors desperately needing a win after starting 0-2. This game went down to the wire and Damian Lee came out the hero. Steph was getting absolutely slandered after their first 2 losses, some saying that without Clay and Draymond that he's just his brother Seth. And it was nice to see him go out and drop 36 and 6, even if it was on 44% shooting. The Warriors' spacing continues to look atrocious. Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre, Steph's best running mates at the moment, combined to go 9 for 31 from the field. In particular, Oubre has shot almost 6 threes a game so far and has hit exactly 0 of them. The Bulls had 4 starters score at least 20 points, including 33 from Zach LaVine, but it was not enough. Now let's take a listen in on the last 2 possessions of the game.
LaVine running it right, pulls up, and connects!
Wow, big-time players make big-time plays.
Oubre, Curry, and Damian Lee.
Here he comes.
Down 2. Oh, Looney's got it. Damian for 3 in the lead. Oh, Damian Lee hit it. 1.7 left.
Yo, get back. It's still not over.
1.7 seconds. Bulls are out of timeouts. Satoransky for the win. And that'll do it. Damian Lee has won it.
Yo. And they couldn't find Steph, so David's like, okay, I'm going to take matters into my own hands.
On opening night for the Nuggets and Kings, we've got an overtime thriller. The Kings spread the offense around, although notably rookie Tyrese Halliburton hit 2 clutch threes in the fourth quarter. The Nuggets' Nikola Jokic orchestrated the offense as usual and had a huge, fatty triple-double with 29, 15, and 14 on 61% shooting. Stick around for the top plays to see how that game ends. And our final game, unequivocally the best game of the week on the 26th, an absolutely scorching overtime duel between the Rockets and Trailblazers in Portland. This game was absolutely packed with highlights. With all eyes on James Harden after his offseason COVID stripper drama, he went out and got 44 points on 12 of 21 shooting with 17 dimes. We've already talked about the hardwood duo, but Christian Wood added 31 points of his own. Unfortunately for Harden, CJ McCollum canceled out his scoring with 44 points of his own, though it did take him 17 makes on 30 shots and only 2 free throw attempts to do it. Damian Lillard put in 32 and 9 assists of his own. And I'm going to let you sit in on the final few possessions of the game to see the outcome.
Oh, James leads. Dame with Harden defending. Dame gets into the paint, goes up with the right. Covington defending Harden. Covington trying not to give up the three. Harden step back three. Dame into the paint. Finds CJ. CJ for three. Oh, painted CJ McCollum. Jones Jr. up top. Harden tries to kick it. Deflected by Covington. And time will run out.
At number 1, we're going to take a look at the top 5 plays of the week. This is not your typical top 5. We're looking for good quality team basketball here with hustle and heart. First up, down by 1, Domantas Sabonis with the fake dribble handoff and 1 for the win. At number 4, look at Eric Bledsoe giving a hard pass on overtime, rejecting the shot, throwing it up in the air. Let's go home. At number 3, more of your traditional highlight and a rare moment for me to praise LaMelo Ball with the bullet pass ahead. Kevin Durant tries to spike the ball into the bleachers, and Terry Rozier takes a page out of his boss's book and says,
and it became personal with me.
At number 2, definitively the very solid play of the week. Shout out to Lee Ellis. The Sixers have upgraded their floor spacing and they want to show you how. And at number 1, I promise you the end of the Nuggets-Kings game, so here it is.
And his shot is blocked from behind. Nuggets by 2. And the lay-in is good by First. Jokic has it. Nearly lost it. He didn't lose it. 2 points, 5 seconds. Burks tries to dunk, tip in. At the buzzer.
Exactly what we're looking for here at 5x5 basketball. Gotta love the hustle. Buddy Hield, let's get out of here.